You're listening to the Empire Network.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, swamp rats, swamp things, and every other creature all over the galaxy. You're listening to Star Wars Wastelands with the accompanying tunes of Random Crackle. We got a great show lined up for you guys tonight. Hopefully the symphony will stop playing here in a minute. Nope, guess it's going over some heads. Anyway, it's great to be here with you guys tonight. I'm your host this evening, McMahon. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you guys all across the galaxies, listening to us on the Empire Network or live recording on channel 1138. Joining us on our panel of esteemed guest colleagues, dignitaries, mercenaries, and whatever else they are. Jake, how you doing tonight?
Doing all right. How's everybody else doing?
I'm doing good. Got a headache,
good.
but, expected it.
Yeah, I'm feeling that too. I got a little bit of a headache. I don't know what's up.
Yeah. I had to listen to a symphony in an echo chamber. But that's a me problem.
It's like a personal problem.
It definitely is, but it's one I'm going to have to suffer through for a while. But I'll tell you that story off the air.
Cool.
Anyway, joining us also, Sage, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing. That's right. That's my line. Don't steal it.
I will steal it as often as I want, because I do it so much better. And joining us, as always, he is the chip-chewing, cookie-crumbling, marshmallow-masticating,
Noise-making piece of poop.
What's going on, guys? Did you guys know
that you are making an excessive amount of noise this evening?
Yeah.
Well, I've been muted until I started chewing a chip. But they've now mixed Cheetos Flamin' Hot and Doritos Dynamite Chili and Lemon in one bag now.
Hashtag who cares?
I don't know. It's interesting. It's one of those, in the words of the great man.
Someone is making an excessive amount of noise. Way too much.
I'm talking with my hands, so it's not me tonight.
Ditto.
My hands are folded. It's not me.
Mondo.
I'm a hand talker. But I digress.
Nope, I was on mute.
Haha, yeah.
I don't think your mute is working properly.
Either that or that is, in fact, the cause of the issue, which is a possibility.
That'd be weird.
I heard something, too, when it stopped. I don't know what it was. But I'm on mute. I just, jumped up and down screaming.
Well, somebody call up Mulder and Scully, then, because this one's going down in the X-Files.
I blame Ben.
How about we jump into the first order of business, huh?
Sounds good.
Alrighty. So, we have exciting news. Those that are interested in participating in the Star Wars RP that we've told you about, it will launch March 1st. Character sheets will be available next week. Fill them out, seek approval, and we're going to get started March 1st. So that's some exciting news. The Force Bowl, we were supposed to continue it last week. We apologize for the delays. Time constraints are really hampering us.
The Force Bowl is our Chinese democracy. People deal with it.
The only difference is we actually
It's not going to take us 15 years.
The Force Bowl will finish up next week. So stay tuned for that. Also, starting here in a couple of weeks, the Empire Network is going to have their own little 45-minute to an hour sports show. It won't be weekly, too much on our plate already. It'll likely run every 2 to 3 weeks, and it will cover hockey, NASCAR, baseball, football, basketball, probably not soccer, not on my watch.
So
It's just
pretty
like the
much
World
all-
Cup.
So pretty
Go
much all the
Madrid.
important things that have gone on in sports over a course of a couple weeks.
Yes, it sounds like you're drowning and someone's smothering you. But yes,
Alicia, step away from Mondo.
Oh my gosh.
and then last but not least, we have some. Sorry, not last. There's one more topic after this. I just don't have it in my show notes, Fizz, so you'll have to pick up after this. Is Legacy of the ACS, the novel that we told you about that David Gramillion was working on, is being delayed. We don't know when it'll see the light of day now. We promise you that it will. But we're going to transition writers from David to someone else. We're going to take what David has so far, work with him on some of the story points, work with all you on some of the story points, as the audience has a say, and we're going to bring a new writer into the mix. But my guess is, we were really close to having something for you guys soon, but at this point, I don't see us having anything for you before summer. So look for it in late summer, fall area.
I'm just saying right now, eventually there's going to be a vote that's going to see Mondo's character dying, choking on some food.
Yeah, I could live with that. Or, as Matt the radar technician said, oh, look, he's choking on his food.
That happens.
He's choking on food. Anyways, Fizz, what's the last topic for the first order of business?
Well, the last item of the first order of business is this week's top 3. And this week, the top 3 is the top 3 Star Wars game you want to see made. So we're gonna throw the ball directly at our resident gaming enthusiast, Jake. How you doing? Give us your top 3. Yeah, intentional curveball.
Curveball. All right.
Good Lord.
Don't get me wrong. I like games. I'm just. Mondo posts Facebook pictures of the games he's currently playing every single day. That's the difference between me and him. So, the first game.
I'm pretty sure there's more differences than just that, but
Yeah, I'm pretty
Like
sure.
actual time spent with a controller in their hand.
There you go. I'm working on it. Man, I've only got one, to be honest.
okay.
And that's 1313. I think that's going to be on...
So not really a new game, just a...
No, just get the delayed game, get it out there.
canceled game, but yeah.
It's delayed.
Jake is totally that guy that would want Bombad Racing 2, the sequel trilogy.
Nothing wrong with that.
And Jedi Power Battles 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Yes.
Jedi Power Battles 2, The Lost Island. The whole game is just Rey training with Luke.
The Lost Island of Achu.
Bless you.
Mondo, how about you?
Man, that's actually a really good question. So I've become very fond of third-person shooter experiences. And I've thought for the longest time it would be really cool to have a third-person game, not necessarily follow a known character, but a new character, it kind of going from planet to planet, maybe trying to uncover something of some kind. I don't know, I thought that'd be a really cool way to show off different planets, different scenery from the Star Wars universe. And, make it entertaining, right? I mean, the whole first-person thing is cool, but I feel like it's been overplayed by other franchises.
Unintended.
So, and it could have, and I was thinking it could have, game style, similar to maybe like The Last of Us, if anyone's played something like that, kind of that third-person, cinematic storytelling kind of game.
Sweet.
So I have more.
It's the top 3, Mondo.
Well, lately we've been doing top 3 and we all give one, so I was kind of confused. The
I
other
don't
one
recall that at all.
They're harder topics when we do that, or longer topics.
Well, that's true. I would really like if they were to redo with new graphics and new engines, maybe an updated pod racing game. It would have to be done right,
Oh
though.
God, you would.
I would, because I love racing. I mean, racing.
I'm pretty sure there's a Lego Star Wars level that takes care of that.
there is, and it sucks. I mean, it's just fun, but
That was
I mean,
the best one.
I mean, if they it would have to be really detailed. It have to be done right. And third, honestly, I would like a re-envisioned Dark Forces game. Dark Forces was always kind of a cool game to me. It was one of the first Star Wars games I ever played. And to be able to revisit that and kind of actually understand more what was going on would be really fun. If it had more of a point to it. I guess.
Fizz, how about you?
Well, first off, I'm going to start by saying if somebody doesn't take this bag of chips away from me, I'm going to eat the whole thing in the first 15 minutes of this show.
Eat them, eat them, eat them.
I just opened the bag before the show started. I can't eat a whole bag that quickly.
Do it.
They are addicting. Nope. I got to trust my better judgment and put the chips away.
Hold on. So what kind of chips are they? Because that's actually an important part of this conversation.
They're actually the Walmart Great Value brand barbecue chips.
Oh,
There
those
you
are
go.
good. They're kind of
That's the one.
sweet.
The flavor is addicting.
It is.
It just sits in your mouth unlike other types of barbecue chips.
That's what she said.
Didn't realize you had Walmart in Canada.
Right now, we probably have more of them than you guys do.
Well, don't get too carried away.
What are you talking? We got 2 of them in my city alone.
Well, we
I've
got
got
4 of
3
them in
within-
our city alone.
3 within
Nice.
walking distance from my house.
Jake, you're in LA. It doesn't count. Everything is like in walking distance of your house.
You probably got 6 In-N-Out burgers, 17 Starbucks, and a Kmart within walking distance too.
Those are
it's-
actually the exact statistics. So.
I think it's 17 Starbucks on your block. But
Yep.
before we turn this into a show on the food channel, I think maybe I should jump into my top 3, huh?
There you go.
Okay, we're going to start off with a brand new, reimagined, re-envisioned Rogue Squadron game. Okay, I want some story this time, like an actual new story, not just, don't get me wrong, there's nothing better than flying the missions from the game, from the movies, like the trench runs and things of that nature, but I want a story that takes me as a pilot who is just getting his start in Rogue Squadron all the way up to them, being a leader of their own group. Alright, I want a story. I'm a story whore. I can't help it. Next up on my list, okay, it's a little divisive because, while I like what they gave me, I want what they didn't give me. I want the real Battlefront 3. Okay? This one was good. Like, don't get me wrong, I quite enjoy the Battlefront they've given us, and it's definitely a great starting point, but I want the real thing. I want back my conquests and, those kinds of modes where you had to, manage your assets and take over planets and things of that nature. I love those kinds of games. I'm an RTS guy. I like RTS games. So that's something I want. RTS plus first-person shooter made me a very happy McMahon. I want that back. And the third game on my list, I'm freestyling this one, okay? It may turn out to be that I'm basically describing the plot of the Visceral game, which would be awesome. But I want an open-world smuggling game.
Dope.
Okay, now I want to be able to play the smuggler on multiple different planets, who's literally smuggling things. Like, I don't want to just, pick this up, take it to your ship, and you're done. I want to have to fly the trade routes, maneuver my way through blockades and around blockades without getting spotted while trying to get to hyperspace lanes, to get my cargo to the planet while dealing with, people boarding my ship, trying to break out of my stuff, cargo breaking loose if it's animals, things of that nature, all while still dealing with somebody chasing you, from the side of the Empire or Republic or whoever the good guys are, as it were, that would be chasing a smuggler. I want them to be chasing me. I just want an awesome story. I want a kick-ass story. And if that's what the Visceral game turns out to be, even better, but I doubt it's going to be anything like that at all. So that's my top 3 games, Star Wars games that I want to see made.
All right.
Get on that, EA, right now. I'm available for consultations.
All right. So, I think my first one is I'd like to see a game where set between episodes 3 and 4, where Darth Vader decides to defy the Emperor and take on his own apprentice. in order to try to overthrow the
Oh
Emperor.
my gosh.
Wait. Wait, that was already done.
We did this bit a few weeks ago, okay, when it was movies we want to see made.
I was trying to make a Rebels joke, and then I was like, oh wait, you're totally making your own little joke there.
No, seriously, I want a Darth Vader game. I can't believe it hasn't happened yet. Give me a Darth Vader game in between episode 3 and 4 of him hunting down the Jedi. Not a Secret Apprentice, nothing else. Have Vader and Palpatine story. We've gotten a bit of it fleshed out already in the Lords of the Sith novel. Vader
Call it Vader Jedi Hunter. That'd be so sick.
Just call it Vader. That's all
Or
it needs to be. Vader for
What about
Xbox
just
One.
Darth?
No, that's
Darth.
terrible.
Darth, the video game.
Be all of the Darths, or just one Darth.
So I want a Vader game. I want a Darth Bane game. I would love a game, or a trilogy, really, of Darth. Excuse me, of Darth Bane games. That'd be amazing. Whether it happens or not, who knows?
Wouldn't hold your breath on that one.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
It would be nice. I too, I'm a fan of the Bane story, and having him made canon through Clone Wars is definitely a very nice tip of the cap. But I wouldn't hold my breath on seeing him as a star in anything in the near future, outside of a book or 2 or 3 or 5 or 7. I don't mind as long as Drew's writing.
And last, but certainly not least, a Knights of the Old Republic 3.
I chose to omit that one for obvious reasons.
Yes, but at the same time, you went with a Rogue Squadron remake, which is, I think, on everybody's list. So
I chose to omit it for the obvious reason of I knew it would be on yours. That's the obvious reason here.
Sure it is. All right, let's move on to the HoloNet.
Jumping right into the HoloNet.
Yeah, the HoloNet is a segment each week where we bring you the biggest news from the Star Wars universe, whether it's from canon or the EU.
Or stuff we randomly make up that we want to see you guys trend on Twitter.
Speaking of which, Betty White has been cast in Star Wars episode. No, I'm kidding.
Yes, finally.
Betty
She's
White
in
is
fact
Snoke.
going to play Padme.
Oh,
Padme didn't die.
she lived
Her
too
death was
long.
faked.
She's turned into the sassy old lady everyone loves.
Okay, so first up, we have a report from MakingStarWars.net. I believe they're reporting on someone else's report. I could be wrong about that. But it's of details on the Rogue One merchandise / toy packaging. And, in a nutshell, it confirms Darth Vader's involvement in the movie. So this is what the packaging apparently features. It features heroes towards the top of the package in V formation. So you can sort of picture that Power Rangers V formation. And then above it in the top right-hand corner is Vader's mask, probably overlooking it. Here's the interesting part, though. In the lower right-hand corner, which would be, I'm guessing, below the toy, depending on how the packaging looks like, there is a male character in the lower right section, and he is dressed in a all-white cape. The person doing the report couldn't even identify the character. So I find that very curious. It almost sounds like a Jedi-type character.
I already know who it is.
Oh.
Spill the beans, Jake.
Spill the beans.
I can't tell you. I can't tell you who it is.
He doesn't.
Oh, you're
Sworn to
fired.
secrecy.
He doesn't know.
I actually
He's
don't
just
know.
he's just trying to make himself look cool.
Yep.
How dare you?
Sorry,
Not
man.
cool, Jake.
If I find
Not
out, I
cool.
will. You guys will.
Jake from State Farm would not be impressed.
Gotta do my Jake from State Farm proud. Not being.
I would like to tip my cap to our special guest star this evening, Tucker the dog, and his incessant...
It's actually the cats.
Is it the cats now? That would explain
Yeah.
why it's so much quieter.
Yeah, Tucker is laying in the bed with Danielle.
Oh, that's good. That's good. If it was Tucker the dog, you'd be hearing it incessantly, believe me. I've been on Skype with Sage for the better part of the last 2 hours getting tonight's show ready, and good lord, I'm deaf in one ear and can barely hear out of the other one.
Stanley
actually have
for Tucker
Cat
alone.
Royal Rumble going on right now.
Cat Royal Rumble.
So anyway, moving on. Episode 8 began filming this week, and as
What?
part of it,
Did it start
they
filming
released.
last week?
Might have been last week.
Because I'm sure we discussed this last week on the show.
Well, I think there was a report, but they officially said they began.
Yeah, I'm
filming
pretty
this
sure
week.
that was last week.
No,
No, it was like
that was this
Monday.
week. Yeah.
It started, but they announced it that it
Yeah.
was Monday.
So they released this little production announcement video, which shows Luke and Ray, and I see a bunch of people like jumping up and down, going, oh my god, this is from episode 8." And I'm sitting here saying to myself, first of all, the video was cool. It was awesome how it zooms in on Skellig Michael. It's possible that clip is from episode 8, considering Ray hasn't yet handed him the lightsaber. He hasn't taken the lightsaber from Ray. But I stand by the episode 8 will not take place right after episode 7. There is no chance in Vince McMahon's hell that that's going to happen.
That
There will
metaphor
be
didn't
some
make
sort
sense.
of time. There will be. You're screwing me up here, Fizz. Shut up.
That was a horrible metaphor. I have to call it.
So, now you got me all flustered. Damn it.
No chance in hell. It's not right after
Anyway,
episode 7. That's where you're wrong.
So, I don't think there's a chance it's going to happen because, one, what are you going to have for the opening scroll? You'll have nothing. You're just going to review the last movie? No, not happening. I do, however, though, believe that in episode 8, they could look back at Ray's training there or back at what happened there. I have a hard time believing we're going to start there and then time jump. I think it's more feasible to look back than it is to jump ahead. But who knows? I'd also like to point out when Ryan Johnson says cut, they're not on the top of the mountain where Luke and Ray were.
They're on the side of the mountain.
It's clear as day that they're not.
Thank
then I
you,
heard-
Batman.
And then I heard someone saying, or I seen someone saying that, well, look at the lighting, it has to be different. And I just shook my head like, no, it doesn't. You know, they could have filmed that during the Abrams time.
We know they filmed on Skellig Michael beyond what we saw in 7. We know
Yes, they announced that a while back. That doesn't mean that the whole movie is going to take place right after 7, like people are insinuating. I mean, hey, I could be wrong. I highly doubt it, though. I
You
think
would. You would with your ego.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it doesn't make sense for it to happen right after. You have no opening crawl, pardon me, that there'd be none. Like, okay, so this is episode 7, now let's move on to episode 8. They'll do it in some sort of way, and it's Ryan Johnson. Ryan Johnson's used to bouncing back and forth, so as long as Disney has given him the okay that, you know, the movie can take place in 2 different time slots, it'd be a lot like Looper. I think that's more feasible. I'll throw it over to you guys. Is episode 8 in its complete form going to take place right after episode 7?
As a whole, no.
I agree.
There is going to be a jump. I mean, I know we've, on the show in the past, speculated as to what we think is going to happen vis-a-vis the timeline of 8 versus 7. I still stick to what I said back then. I think we're going to start off right after 7, but we're going to very quickly get a time jump, and whether that means they're going to buck the trend and have a scene before the title crawl, I don't know. It'd be weird.
No, that'll never happen.
I don't see it happening myself either, but I still think at the end of the day we're going to get a scene at the beginning that's directly after, that's basically Luke's first words.
What if it was like well, I don't know if that's even going to be right off the bat. If I had to guess, I don't think we're going to see Luke and Ray right off the bat of 8. I don't. I believe we're going to see them almost like Vader and Empire 10, 15 minutes in, because they don't have to start with those two. Every Star Wars movie starts with the space scene. Could it start above the Sneeze planet? Yes. But I suspect that it might start above, or start with the First Order, or with Poe and Finn.
Yeah, and see, that was actually my next argument, or my argument is, you know, it seemed with episode 7 that they tried to stick with some of the more traditional things that they could, and the opening space scene was there. So I don't know. I think you're going to get a space scene. You may get. I'm pretty sure at some point you're going to get some sort of flashback or I don't know, some sort of memory of the handing off of the lightsaber. But no, I don't think it starts there. It doesn't make sense to start there for too many reasons. I mean, you've got, what Sean mentioned is, if you start off where Episode 7 left off, what does your screen crawl say? I mean, I guess it could, depict things that are happening.
Star Wars Episode 8. Rey has blinked twice, and Luke has nodded.
Luke
Since
has
then,
yet to move.
a whale crashed
Rey
into the
begins
sea.
to wonder if he is in fact a statue.
Neither one has pooped in a very long time. They're cranky. I don't know. I mean, it's. I don't know. I mean, it would be kind of a cool opening, but it would be a very untraditional opening at the same time.
So are we all sort of in agreement that all of Episode 8 is not going to take place right after Episode 7?
Yes.
Oh, it can't.
What actually happens? Who knows?
Only time shall tell.
Yes, there's some more Episode 8 news, though. Some rather big ones.
What?
Big news, sorry. And that is the lead actress from Jurassic Park, a.k.a., I believe, Academy Award winner Laura Dern, has been cast in Episode 8.
Yeah.
Mondo, you being the Jurassic Park guy, how do you feel about this?
Man, I love that. I mean, it's great for for her. I mean, she was in Jurassic Park 1. She made a brief appearance in 3.
Yep.
Actually, she was the hero in 3. If
Yep.
anybody remembers that movie,
I'd rather forget the whole movie.
but I think it's really cool. I mean, I think you saw it in Jurassic Park. She's really good at playing different emotions, and I think she can bring a lot to the Star Wars table.
Hashtag women inherit the galaxy.
They're taking over. No, so that's
Nominated for an Academy Award.
Nominated, all right.
Big
Nominated,
difference
thank
there,
you.
Sean. Big difference.
You're right. Harrison Ford's been nominated a bunch of times and hasn't won.
She's been nominated twice.
Cool. Well, good on her. That's 2 more nominations than any of us will ever get.
That's the
Hey, excuse me, but I can hang my hat on the fact that I have the same number of Oscars as Leonardo DiCaprio. Okay? I can say that
For
for
now.
at least another month.
Yeah.
But Leonardo, how much money does Leonardo DiCaprio have in his bank account?
It's all about the bling bling.
McMahon's bling bling is a bag of great value chips wrapped around his neck.
No shame. No shame.
Anyways, let's move on.
My bling game is on fleek.
Oh my
That's
god.
right, I'm killing that.
Don't ever say that again.
The
At least I said it right.
The last topic of the night is, or last topic of the HoloNet.
Of the HoloNet.
Whoa, we got over that fast.
There's
is,
no way we're going to have a half-hour Wastelands. I literally think Ben Hart would have a heart attack if he found out we went for half an hour.
Oh, I mean, we're probably past the halfway point of the show already, so...
We're on pace for 45 minutes. So
Yeah.
even that might cause Ben to have a heart attack, so...
Hashtag Wastelands World Record.
Ben misses the 3-hour marathons. We kept him entertained Wednesday nights.
We really did. We really did. Maybe in the summer we might, have a few classics,
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe...
An
Split them up into 3
11:38
shows.
special.
yeah, especially when we have more, Rogue One news, and there's there's stuff
Trailer
coming
to
out.
break down.
Yeah,
By the way, at some point, Mondo, Jake, and I are going to do a Deadpool review. Hopefully within the next
Absolutely.
week or 2.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So, last topic for the HoloNet tonight is Knights of the Old Republic is being remade, fan remake, by a, as Mondo put it earlier, sort of a run together studio, not an official studio, just a group of individuals with the resources to do it, and it's going to be remade using the Unreal 4 engine. Now, lots of people, fantastic engine. Lots of people try stuff like this, fan remakes, and it doesn't really go anywhere. And then sometimes it does. We'll get into the debate here in a second, Mondo. But I will say this, there's a bunch of screenshots for this game, and it looks amazing. I also have to point out that it really looks nothing like Knights of the Old Republic, though. Which I'm not sure I like that. But I mean, it would look different. So.
Beggars can't be choosers, Sean.
Beggars can be choosers sometimes, Jake.
If it's a Kickstarter, I guess so.
Well, the interesting thing is that it's not a Kickstarter yet. They may accept donations.
Where did you go, Sean?
The second they start making any sort of money on this is the minute the lawyers show up. Guaranteed.
I think if they have enough to do it by themselves, then I think they're going to get away with it as long as there's not plans to remake. And that's the only
Hello, we represent LucasArts. You don't exist anymore.
inside of Disney. However, as we reported on the show, there's a chance that may happen even as soon as this year. I'd love to see come E3.
Does Sean sound like 50 feet away to anybody else?
I'll be very quiet.
Yeah, he sounds very, very
He's
far
hunting
away.
Wabbit.
Yeah, being very quiet.
No, I mean like you sound like you actually walked across the room and sat down.
What he's not saying is that's exactly what he did. He
Anyways.
left his microphones on the kitchen table, and he's on the couch, and he's like, crap,
No, that should be
I'm
good
not
now.
getting up again.
Anyways, this may or may not happen. The question I have is, we don't see any video of it. We see photos. And for all we know, these photos are Photoshopped. Very good. But Photoshop, without seeing any sort of video, I don't know if I can say that this thing's legit. I hope it is. Good on them if it is, because if that's everything they've done so far, they've gotten quite a bit done. But if it's not legit, then grow up. Stop being a troll. However, we're going to say right now, we are going to reach out to these individuals. And we're going to try to get someone from this group of people to come on this show and explain to us if they think they're
Give us
gonna get shut down
answers.
at some point. When can you expect to see an alpha version of the game? And go from there. But Mondo, you have some concerns of this thing not coming out. You want to share your concerns with everybody?
Well, yeah, so first and foremost, Sean touched on it, is most of these projects never see light of day. And there's a number of reasons why. Is, the first one is these are fan-driven. They're fan-made. And so there are people that are doing these in their spare time. And especially a large game like this, I mean, it's a pretty tall order to take from. So more power to them for, try it if it is legit. Here's a couple concerns I have is, even if they're not making any money, first of all, I don't think Disney's going to come out right away and shut them down. I don't think that's going to happen at all. I think what's going to happen is, so one of two things are going to happen. If Disney is planning a Knights of the Old Republic remake, which, as Sean pointed out again, many rumors point to that. They're going to shut it down sooner rather than later, but I think they're going to wait to see something tangible, something worth actually even sending, a legal team to them and sending them papers and going through all that hassle. Because if it turns out to just kind of fizz away on its own, there's no reason to anyway.
Are they planning on marketing this and selling it?
No, that's the thing. They can't sell it.
They can't make any profit.
That's where they step in.
That's what I'm.
The second
How
thing
can
has to
lawyers
be
do anything at all then?
well,
As long as they stay as not, just their own time, their own product. They can
Yeah.
do it. They might get a hassle if they try and, openly release it to the public for, intellectual property reasons.
Yeah.
But,
Well,
Which is still ridiculous.
agreed.
but
But
Disney,
as long as they don't solicit donations or cash or anything
See,
like
that's
that,
the problem, though, is their article.
they should be fine, and they should stay fairly off Disney's radar until we actually find out this is actually Disney, just checking to see if the fans actually care enough.
well, and this is why I questioned that they even announced anything to begin with. Because I could tell you right now, if this gets big enough, especially being Star Wars and how in demand Star Wars stuff is right now, it's not going to not stay on Disney's radar. And, on their website, they actually mention point blank that at some point they will be open for donations. So that's, to me, that's kind of.
Well, they say they may accept donations down the road. They don't come out and say it's definite. If they accept donations, they're shooting themselves in the foot.
They may travel
Right
down
there.
the gray area of donating towards another project, as long as they actively work on their own small project, even if it's just the tiniest little thing in the world.
Well,
They
I don't
could-
get why donations would be a problem anyway. I mean, do you know the
Because
definition
it's
of
a
the word
loophole.
donation?
Because people today, they use donation in different ways than what it's intended to. I mean, look
you're
at.
donating something that's called a Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake. You can't donate to a Star Wars cause and not have Disney get it.
Exactly. But here's a couple other things to remember, though, is they don't even necessarily have to sell this to cause Disney any grief. Star Wars Knights of the Republic is still for sale on Steam, other PC places. It's available on app stores and things of that nature. So even if this does be released for free, it could still affect Disney I mean, not financially, obviously, but Disney could still have a legitimate. I mean, not necessarily a good one, but a legitimate reason to still have this pull for legal reasons. And I think that's going to be where one of the biggest gray areas is, if there's no Star Wars Knights of the Republic remake already planned. Is if Disney feels that this is going to, hinder the sale of the product that they've already got out. Because if it does that, and they have proof that it's going to, well, Disney can shut it down regardless of anything to begin with, because Disney owns the intellectual rights to it at this point.
Here's the thing, though: when you remake this thing, that means you're going to have new voice actors, if any voice whatsoever. One of the biggest things with Knights of the Republic was, you actually have voice actors outside of your character.
I imagine they would rip the audio directly from the
Yeah.
original game. That would be my guess as to
Well,
what they do it, and then clean it up
They
through
do that.
filtering programs.
If they do that, then
That
there's
opens
more
up a
routes.
whole other can of worms.
Yes, it
Well-
absolutely does.
No
Well,
more cans than they're already opening, because
I disagree
This-
because they've created.
No, because they're
everything
doing
from scratch
everything
on this.
legally.
But-
That is stealing content.
Well, but
is.
even though it's legal, it's still a very gray area.
Well,
And-
you know what? I may be wrong then, because you can go on YouTube, you can make a video with clips from. I don't know.
it's completely in that legal gray area. I mean,
think
I
there's
think
still
at the
enough
end of the day,
good
I
voice
don't think
actors.
it's going to be Disney that stands up and says, "Whoa, hold this train up." I think it's going to be BioWare.
Yeah, because they're the ones that
Still
spend the
answers
time
to
on the
Disney.
video.
They may they do, but their legal entities don't. Their legal team doesn't answer to Disney in that regard. BioWare still, I mean, without actually physically reading the original contract signed with BioWare and LucasArts, Lucasfilms, and all of the other subsidiaries and legal entities that would have been involved in the original creation of this game, BioWare still probably owns at least a certain amount of the intellectual
Oh, I don't
rights
doubt
towards
it,
it.
but so does Disney.
Well, absolutely, Disney still has their thing, and that's why I think that it may not be Disney that gets involved, because it's kind of a spit in the pool for them. You know, they don't, you know, unless they start making profit, they might just say, okay, go ahead, do whatever you're going to do. We don't care.
See,
You're not making money.
Mondo and I are on opposite sides of the fence here. I believe if there isn't immediate plans for a Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake, as long as they don't take public money and do anything else that could cause some, you know, grief, I don't think Disney's going to touch this thing. I think it'll, or BioWare, but not everything will go. And if anything, it will, you know, if there's a spark that the interest is shown, it might finally push the button and go, oh, okay, well,
There's
maybe
actually
it's
interest.
time, you know, we do it. People just assume that there's interest, but the fact is that if these companies knew there was as much interest as there is, we'd have another game by now.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah.
And remember, BioWare is plenty busy with Knights of the Fallen Empire and the sequel to Knights of the Fallen Empire, which will come out in 2017.
Well, yeah, and BioWare is also losing a lot of their key personnel left and right all of a sudden, too.
Yes, but don't forget they brought back the main personnel for the Knights of the Fallen storytelling.
Including the author.
Yes.
I don't know. I feel, and Sean is right. I do think that if this project gets to a certain point where there is an actual imminent release, I do think you're going to see Disney or even BioWare step in and start to kind of take a closer look at it. Because like I mentioned before, I mean, you can still buy Knights of the Old Republic, and if this comes out and it's half decent and it's free, well, then all of a sudden, what you have for sale is, well, you're no longer going to sell it, because why would anybody pay for it?
Okay, who's taking a shower during the show?
Be right out. No, I'm kidding.
But I don't. It's going to be interesting to follow, to see what happens, and more importantly, you know, like I said, I mean, we're jumping the gun. I mean, like I said, a lot of these projects, because they can't take money, and it costs a lot of money to develop these kind of things. You know, I mean,
But we also don't know who's doing it. There could be people with a lot of money that are doing this.
There could be. You know, I don't know. It's a slippery slope that they're on. It truly is. And I mean, this is a several-year project. I mean, for it
Yes,
to
but
be,
for all you know, that they've been working on it for several years. I'll tell you right now, if the screenshots are legit, big if, that is at least a year, probably a lot more of work that's gone into that. Minimum.
it depends, because if they just put together screenshot using concept art using Unreal 4.
Okay, well, I just said if it's legit in terms of actual builds, actual structure, actual gaming, not something that's just concept art, then, you know, that's multiple years of work there. Easy.
How long has Unreal 4 actually been available?
I have no idea, but I'm going to say this. I think they've fallen prey to one of the many cardinal things in this world, is that it's better to seek forgiveness than ask permission. They came out way too early. All the eyes are on them. All the attention is on them, and that's going to be their damnation. So I got one last question on this topic before we keep rolling. Will this project see the light of day, yes or no?
I think there's a 50% chance either way.
Jake, sitting on the fence. Mondo?
I think there's about a 20% chance we actually see it.
Sage?
It's just not something you can give a yes or no answer to, because we don't have enough details behind it. If the thing has been in development for a couple of years already, and they're coming out towards the back half or the back quarter of this project, then yes, I believe we will absolutely see a public alpha. Not necessarily finished game, but some sort of public alpha for people to go on, try and test it. If they can't back any of it up that this is legit by providing a public video or something of actual footage of them playing, the parts that they're building, then no. There's a big part of me that still feels.
Sage. They have screenshots.
Yeah. Well, there's a big part of me that thinks that those screenshots aren't real. But
Wow.
to their
Jake
credit,
could make
they
those
just-
screenshots.
Wow.
They deserve
I could make those on
the
MS
opportunity
Paint, man.
to defend themselves and their project that they're working on. And we're going to reach out. We're going to do our best to get them on the show.
Call them out.
Well, I'm going to answer my own question. No, this project is not going to see the light of day. They came out way too early with it. If they'd have stayed quiet, did it, worked in the background, because they have the resources, which if they don't have the resources, they're not going to get the resources, because they can't solicit those resources. It's never going to see the light of day.
I like the way you say resources.
I do. I'm using it a lot in this sentence. It's a very resourceful sentence.
Resources.
Your sentence is more boring than Brian and Harvey.
Hey, you gave War and Peace on a yes or no question. Okay? No,
Well,
this project
and
is not
watch
going to see
you
the
go.
light of day. That's my answer. Hell no.
Well,
no, it's
and
not going to happen.
And more importantly, not more importantly, but I also kind of feel that, and we've seen stuff like this before, part of me feels that, these guys know that it may never see the light of day, but they're using this as maybe like a job audition.
Also, but you're not going to get a job on screenshots.
No, you're not. And to your point, if this is a couple years in development, I would have started with, instead of showing screenshots, I would have started with video. And if you're
just like a little test footage, maybe.
Yeah, and if you're a couple years in development, you should at least have that. And if you don't, and if that's all they've got in a couple years is what they've got, then they're a long, because it's one thing to build the world. It's another
I'll say
thing.
this. And then we really need to move on. The fact that they came out and mentioned donations is almost them hanging themselves already. I don't know. We'll see if any
It's
of them will
damnation.
come on
Our
here.
researcher, Rogue, has told us that Unreal Engine 4 first came out in 2014.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at most, they've been working on this for about a year and a half.
2 years. Could have been 2 years.
Well, it
Depending
depends
on
on
when it came
when
out,
they would have
2014.
got their hands
Yeah.
on the engine.
Yeah.
I'm sure that it was kept under pretty close lock and key to those only in the community for a good year.
Let's say it was a year, and there's a dozen of them working on it. You get quite a bit done, depending on how committed you are to it. The point is, we don't know, and I'd like to know. I think we'd all at least like to know. So we'll see if they respond. I mean, we have a little decent Facebook following, and we're no Star Wars Under folks.
Soon.
We have a little following, and hopefully they'll come out and comment, and hopefully get one of them on the air.
Yeah,
That'd be cool.
That'd be fun. And I want to clarify, just because and I think McMahon's in the same boat, is just because we don't think it's going to come out, doesn't mean we don't want it to.
Absolutely.
You guys are a bunch of haters. Let's move on. Especially McMahon.
I am not sitting here holding a bottle of Haterade right now.
Especially for me, as somebody who's never, played through the entire game, having
Blasphemy
it,
right there.
having
It really is.
Ben.
You need to just stop talking.
Well,
I
no,
know,
but
he's playing Uncharted, but won't take the time beating Ice the Old Republic 1 and 2. Ugh.
but having it with updated, graphics and newer technology, I think it'll that would be a really cool thing. And I've seen some
Tell you
people
what, you can't
post.
play the new one until you play the original. Should ban Mondo from Wastelands till he
Well,
beats both games.
Well, on my computer, it's really frustrating because
Your
I keep
computer
running
should
into
be able to
this
run
glitch.
both of those games
Well,
fine.
it does, but on the Steam version that I've got, and it's even in the forums, there's a glitch.
Yes, Yeah.
Yes, and my guy will stop
It's annoying.
moving, and it's really just. It really
It takes
pisses
about
me
10
off.
seconds to reset it, though, so.
See, mine doesn't. Like, mine, I actually have to. I have to shut the whole game down and restart it again.
Oh, see, no, I don't. If you have a save file, you just click on the menu, you go in there, and you reload it. That's why you save it.
Bing,
So
bang,
often.
boom. It's an RPG. You should be saving it like every 5 minutes anyway.
Yep, absolutely. Let's move on.
Yep.
The Outer Rim.
The Outer Rim. That's where we're headed.
Here are the topics we have for the Outer Rim. We're each going to pick one of them. Stay tuned to the Facebook page for the ones that don't get picked, and maybe it'll be talked about there. So, gentlemen, your topics of choice tonight are as follows. You have Darth Vader versus Luke Skywalker battle on Cloud City, filmed for Episode 7. That's one topic. You have Lego Star Wars Freemaker Adventures. You have Force Friday Rogue One Edition. You have Battle of Takadana for the Battle Pod arcade game. And you have
Taron Egerton as Han Solo.
Yes,
There you
thank you. Question mark. Let's start off with so only one of these won't get talked about. Let's start off with Jake. What do you want to talk about?
Oh man, I'm gonna go ahead and do the Rogue One Force Friday thing. What did they actually say the date was, or did they not confirm?
I didn't see the date. I just seen a confirmation that there will be a Force Friday in September.
okay. Gotcha.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, I think that's
Disney
totally
seeing how
cool.
much they made off the last one. They're going, okay, well, let's do one
Only
of
if
these
the
suckers
Revan
for
Black
every
series
movie.
figure is out, then I'll go.
Well, I had gone
Oh,
to
you'll go
the
anyway for the show.
I'd gone to the last
just-
Force Friday.
We're just not going to go to Toys R Us again.
Well, that's where I went.
Where the heck else are we gonna go?
Walmart.
In our neck of the woods? I didn't think any of them did anything.
The next morning they did.
Well, that's not Force Friday.
Well, whatever. Close enough.
That's
It's
Force
Force-
Friday morning.
Well, I mean,
yeah,
we could go and just not be looking to buy anything and then see. No, that is Force Friday. How dare you? It's Force
That's
Friday.
Force Friday morning. It's not the same
Paid
thing.
off for
I-
me.
I did the Force Friday thing. It was an absolute blast. It was like, it was like Black Friday Star Wars edition.
We'll just have to go earlier this time if we're doing Force Friday.
And I truthfully though, I almost don't think that this one's going to be necessarily as big as the Episode 7 one and the Episode 8 one will be, because I can only imagine they're going to do it for Episode 8 too. So I don't know. I'm excited to see what they actually do for this one.
I think it'll be pretty much the same as the last one. I really do.
I don't
Yeah.
see
To be a
much
success.
changing. in
I hadn't
principle.
gone to a Force Friday before this last one, and
Well, this was
it-
the
Because
only
there wasn't
one, so
one before that.
oh, I wasn't even aware of that. No, there definitely
Jeez,
was though,
Jake.
because they had a Force Friday for the Phantom Menace.
not for action
I,
figures.
yeah, I don't think
the
it was.
same way.
I mean,
thought
they
it
had
was-
a.
That might have been just your regular old midnight launch, but
Yeah,
it
but
wasn't
was nothing
spectacle.
titled as. Yeah, it wasn't
Maybe.
like what this
Um,
was.
this was a spectacle.
Well, all I can say is, for me personally, it really, helped the hype. As if I wasn't hyped enough already. All these people talking in line about, the rumors and speculation for the movie. It's a great platform for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
John.
and-
Oh, sorry. Mono last
Oh,
thoughts.
and I was going to say, that's why I kind of, I don't feel this was going to be as big. It's because so many people were there looking for potential spoilers and toys and packaging and looking at the new characters and
Stocking their store shelves.
yeah, and the new
Oh,
stuff.
good old
and-
Constable Zubio.
I missed him. I didn't even see him.
And this time around, I don't think it's going to be as big, but I do think it's going to be as fun. So that's my final thought.
I am going to take the Lego Star Wars Freemaker Adventures.
Nice.
Okay.
That actually excites me. Unless I'm mistaken, that's the Disney XD show where they go through the galaxies, and the kid finds a kyber crystal and becomes force sensitive.
Yeah.
That's the one that is. I'm kind of excited for that. I mean, I love the Lego stuff. The Lego movies and things of that nature. I love watching that stuff, and
Yeah.
It's fun for the whole
I will
family.
watch it, but I can't say I have a lot of interest in it.
I'm excited for it. You know, the kid in me. The kid in me is excited for it.
I think they could have come up with a little bit of a more creative name than Freemaker.
I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see that kind of change.
Over here you have the Skywalkers, and over here you have the Freemakers, and over here you have the Ding Lakers, and over here you have the Swing Fakers.
Mickey Mouse somehow joined the show.
Resurrection of Mondo Jr., Little Mondo.
Over here
Little
you have the
Mondo
Cake
2.
Bakers.
What about the
Yeah, I
candlestick
mean, it is what it
makers?
is. I can't say I'm super duper excited for it, but
Well,
Mondo,
as
what do you want to talk about? Oh,
I'm
sorry,
gonna.
go ahead,
I'm
Jake.
gonna.
Hang on, I thought Jake was done. Go ahead, Jake.
Well, I was just kind of turned off to the fact that it wasn't canon. You know, and I know they don't generally do Lego things
Wait, hang
canon.
on, time out. It's not canon, none of it?
Well, how
None-
could it be canon?
No,
It's people
well,
who
right at the
cross
art-
galaxies. Like, we're
They're
not
like-
talking...
It's not
It's
strictly.
not strictly
yeah.
in the Star Wars galaxy. Like, in the Star Wars universe.
Okay, wasn't there another Lego thing coming up that's set between episodes 5 and 6?
Oh, I don't know.
There might very
Oh
well
yeah,
be.
well that's the time period it takes place in, but it's not a canon.
Okay, gotcha. Gotcha.
Which
I understand.
to me it just kind of it's like, okay, why would I invest any time into it?
I'll watch it with Zach like I did do Yoda Chronicles.
I mean, it might be fun. I got to give it a try, but
Zach
Well, I
being
mean,
my son, for
it's-
those who don't know.
I thought that was your never.
We're not going there, Jake. But use
So
your
we did.
imagination, folks. I'm sure you can imagine where we were headed.
I don't want to use my imagination on this one.
Well,
Please
you
don't
have a
make
very
me-
dirty imagination. We know that.
Yeah, I do too.
I'm gonna go with the battle pod here. I think that's really cool. Those battle pods, the places that have them, and the people that I've talked to that have had the chance to experience them, they say they're really cool arcade shooters. And for them to be incorporating some episode 7 into it there, I like that. And hopefully this means that we're going to see more episode 7 instilled into some more areas. Battlefront.
Got something in your
Sounded
throat.
like-
Unlikely.
Sounded like you said that.
At some point. I don't know. I mean, it's really cool to see them doing that. But what's also cool about that, though, is it looks like, by the sounds of it, it's just going to be an update that those machines are going to get. So we can possibly see some more stuff be added to those over time as well.
Interesting.
I want to find one in our general vicinity. I haven't yet come across one. I imagine we'd probably have to go into Toronto to find one.
More than likely. That would be my guess. I want to
Unfortunately,
talk
I
about
don't
the...
plan to make that trip for something like that. But
Yeah, definitely not. I want to talk about the Luke and Vader battle that was apparently filmed for episode 7 that Rey sees in her vision. I'm curious if we will see this on the Blu-ray. It'd be cool if it did. I'd be more curious to see if we find out who was playing Luke during that battle. I imagine we won't see a face shot of him. I just think it'd be something cool to see. And I didn't pick the Edgerton one because I'm sure that's just, Jake's mentor there, Christian Harloff, throwing out Edgerton again because he so desperately wants him for Han. And I don't. I'm sorry, I didn't like Kingsman, and I don't see him as Han. Alright, sorry.
you got something
I
stuck
didn't.
in your throat there, buddy.
Yeah, it's called Surprise and Shock.
Shock and awe.
I'm sure it rhymes with shock.
You're reaching there, Mondo.
Anywho, yeah, I don't like Kingsman and don't really care for him to be Han. That's just me, though. Doesn't
Oh,
make
this is
my
where I
opinion
get
right.
off. So, what about Kingsman didn't you like?
Let's see. Okay,
Star Wars
sum
right
it
because it
up.
had Mark Hamill in it.
Yeah, it did. Can I sum it up in one word?
I don't know if you can.
Terrible.
Okay, that doesn't clear anything up.
It
Why
wasn't a
is
very
it-
well put together movie.
disagree entirely 100% on every front. But you
No,
like
movie sucks.
Deadpool?
Deadpool's amazing. Don't compare Kingsman to Deadpool, please. Unbelievable.
This is definitely a conversation for after the show.
Oh,
But
absolutely. Although I won't have time tonight, so
oh,
you can leave a message with my my assistant.
Leave a message
McMahon.
after the beep.
whatever.
Hey, really quick, in Deadpool, in the opening, who caught the...
Yeah, we're not. No,
Movie's
no
been out for
Deadpool.
less than a week. No spoilers.
Yeah,
Go
no
ahead, Mondo.
Deadpool's on.
No!
Hey, shut the fuck up. This isn't a spoiler.
Well, asking if you
Language,
saw
people.
something is exactly that.
Hey, I'm a grown-up. I can use whatever language I want. But,
You're a grown up. That is news to me.
hell yeah. I finished college. I sure did. I'm a grown-up.
I'm a
Grown-ups
grown-ass
do
man.
not have their names labeled on their underwear. McMahon told me.
And I
no,
was informed by Reno.
Did I notice what?
Big man, when you go to see it, pay attention during the opening scene. There's actually a hidden cameo. I don't even know if many people caught it. But you see the Green Lantern.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. There's a lot of ones like that in there.
Yeah. It's not, like I said, it's not a spoiler. It doesn't ruin anything. Just kind of, it's during the opening little
There's
thing they
a
got.
few hidden cameos, but yeah. Let's move on to the trench run, ladies and gentlemen. We have a question from Matt, and Matt would like to know if Star Wars Gaming, convenient because we were talking about this earlier, if Star Wars Gaming will ever be where it was with LucasArts in terms of the amount of games that were coming out back in its heyday, which would probably be around your PS2, Xbox One, or
I will say this.
Wow, that's a
PS2
heck of
X.
a generation.
PS2,
I will say-
Xbox time.
The best hands that Star Wars games could be in right now is the ones they're in, and that is Disney. They have a wonderful...
Not in Disney's hands, they're in EA's hands.
Yes, they're
And
in
I
EA's
think
hands.
that's might be the worst hands they could be in.
Yes,
What?
I agree.
I didn't think it
EA
all
is-
EA, though.
EA has an exclusive license to all Star Wars gaming until
So their logo pops up at the beginning of
Battlefront.
Disney Infinity.
Even
No,
I don't think
no,
it falls
no.
on that far under the banner.
Disney
I think Disney Infinity is one of the
and
rare
Lego,
exceptions.
yes. Them and Lego are the exceptions.
Well, I recant my statement. We're doomed.
Pretty much.
As long as EA keeps it, we might very well be.
Well, I don't think we'll ever see it that way, and it's very unfortunate. I mean, there's definitely a high demand for it, and hopefully at some point somebody over at EA or even at Disney pulls their head out of their ass and realizes that. Because I mean, there were so many Star Wars games on the original Xbox. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
there were quite a few of them, and we were talking about this earlier on the 360. You know, if you exclude the Lego games, there were what, 2?
Yeah.
And-
I think there might have been one or two more side games, but the two big ones were the ones I just wanted to.
Yeah, and it's stupid that they haven't done that. And I mean, especially with the movie, you know, you would thought, hey, there's a movie coming out. This would be a perfect time to rekindle that. Especially with how big gaming has been.
I don't like
last-
the movie games, never did, and glad that
There
they
are
didn't
some
make
exceptions to the rule.
Yeah, but I'm not saying, you know, make it a movie game. I'm just saying, you know, if you have any kind of Star Wars game around all the hype of the movie, people are going to go buy it just because it's Star Wars. I mean, it doesn't have to be a Star Wars movie game.
Well, in their defense, they did. Knights of the Fallen Empire was coming out, and it boosted sales for Star Wars The Old Republic higher than it's been since when it first debuted.
And
So,
that is true, and hopefully,
PC only.
and hopefully at some point, you know, they'll realize that, and we'll start getting more, you know, games like Jedi Outcast and you know.
I wasn't a big fan of Jedi Outcast. Had it as sort of the Jedi Knight Academy, the follow up to it. Amazing.
Yeah, that was a good game.
I will say
That's sorry. I'm watching the gameplay for Star Wars: Revenge of the Sith,
Why did I put Star Wars in front of that? Like, we didn't know what Revenge of the
That's part
Sith
of
was.
that. Is when
Revenge of the
Anakin
Sith.
going through the temple.
Yeah, we'll
That
bet you
whole-
like that.
Game was fun though. I remember playing it a ton. That for PS2 and Phantom Menace for PS1.
No, there's
Those are
some movie games that are
pretty
really
fun
good, but there's
movie
some really
games.
bad movie games as well.
But the EU, a lot of people talk about the EU, and the EU, had a branch directly into gaming, and it was a really awesome branch of it. And you saw a lot of Star Wars games that came out. I mean, I think for a while on the original Xbox in that era, there was about a Star Wars game coming out once a year, at least. During that generation, if you went back and you counted all the Star Wars games, it would probably average one a year. And it does suck, and it's one thing I do think the gaming industry is missing, and not just on Star Wars. I think it is missing some of the licensed stuff like that, and I don't know. I guess one of the things that happened is licensed games all went to craftball at one time, and maybe they're afraid. I don't know what it is, but if anybody at Disney or EA is listening to this, give us more Star Wars. I promise you, people will buy them in groves.
Also, give me a job and free games.
Yes.
Especially with the current price of games up here right now. Good God.
Oh man, that's that's a conversation for a different day. But
It's a conversation for a different show.
But you guys are no sir. I would have to get
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's really all we have for you tonight. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to apologize to Mr. Ben Hart, who is probably still answering to the Conja Club for not paying his rent, and for not going 3 hours tonight. And I want to also tell you guys, if there's any hockey fans,
All 12 of you.
And the 100 to 200 or 300 people that'll see the YouTube and the show reel. If there's any hockey fans out there, McMahon and I do the NHL trade deadline show each year. We've been doing it for over a decade now. This will probably be our biggest year with actually eyes on us live. We will be doing it again. We don't have a time frame for it. We usually like to start around 10, 11, and it'll be much of the same this year. Only we will be live. I'm not saying we'll be live on channel 1138. We'd have to get permission for that, but we may have to launch the Empire Network Mixler channel just for that and reset every hour. But either way, if you're a hockey fan, tune into that. We'll have all the scoops free on trade deadline day.
We'll have more details for you next week.
Yeah, we will remind you that you can catch the Star Wars Underworld tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern. You can catch IPC Saturday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. You can catch, I believe, the Small Street Temple will be up by tomorrow. No Hyperspace Gaming this week. We didn't have time for it, but we will get Hyperspace Gaming next week, which will be James Bond 007 IPN 64. We will get you a Deadpool review, and that's all I have. Fizz, you want to take her away here?
I will, once again. Thanks for joining us as we once more brought you the news, the previews, the reviews, and our awesome witty banter. Thank you for joining us wherever you're listening on 1138 or on the Empire Network. Come back, join us again. As always, may the Force be with you all.
Kingsman was amazing.